Hi everyone, this morning I'm just doing a quick bit of work on my arrows before I go out shooting, because I ordered in some of these from Arrow Socks. These are the vinyl wraps, they go around the end of your shafts. Two main reasons I wanted them. First off is the name and number. Makes it a lot better for trying to identify your arrows, particularly during competitions where there may be more than one of you shooting on a target. And the other thing is they make them with these fletching marks on. So if you're using spin wings, it allows you to put on your vanes without needing to use a fletching jig. Really, you can just put the tape on, put the vane on. So I've already put on a couple. So this is one of the ones repeater style that I did earlier, and I am really pleased with the quality of how these turn out. They look nice. You can see they've got the name and the number on. I've also put some XS wings on, so rather than the normal spinnies that I was using before, these are a little bit larger, but they also feel a lot more durable, so they'll not be needing to replace them quite as often. They can hopefully take a bit more of a knock. So yeah, I'm really pleased with these, and they are a lot easier to fit than I was expecting. I thought it'd be quite a fiddly process. So I'll quickly show you the process of fitting these, and so I'll quickly show you the process of fitting these and how easy it can be to put these on, and the spinnies. So the first thing that you want to look at, so I'll bring my shaft over here. So the first thing you need to think about actually when you're ordering these is that you need to get the right size for your shaft. You can send them your make and model and your spine number off your arrows, and they will make these to the correct size. The other thing you need to think is the fact that this part and these fletching lines need to be at this end of the arrow towards the knock, with your name down towards the point, so that obviously these lines are in the right place. It is very easy to get confused and end up putting these on backwards, because once we peel it off, we're going to place it print side down, and this bit gets tricky because they are incredibly sticky, which is obviously a good thing. You want them to stick to your shafts, but trying to get them to not stick to your fingers can be a bit of a nightmare sometimes. So there we go. Once you've got it down on the surface, and Arrow Socks do recommend using a sort of softer surface, something with a bit of give. They recommend a mouse mat, so that's what I'm using. It just helps to, as you're putting the wrap on, make sure there's no air in there. Another thing that I noticed whilst putting on the first couple was that if you roll the arrow from away from you towards you, it makes it a lot easier for lining up and seeing that the arrow's going to be going straight and the wrap's going to be going straight on there. So I'm going to line it up so this edge is in line with the edge of the shaft, the start of the knock. You can give it a little bit of space if you want, just to be safe. Make sure you don't overrun. And then once you've got it lined up nice and straight, you're just going to move that whole shaft down nice and level until it presses on the wrap. Once you get that, just going to press down and roll it towards me. And once I see the start of it, I can then push that down just to make sure it's gone on nice and solid, and then just keep pressing down, continue the wrap the rest of the way around. And that is the wrap put on. Just going to give that another press down, another rub. These do have a little bit of overlap, which is nice, and they do fit extremely well. The other advantage of rolling away from you and towards you, if you're a bit OCD like me, is the fact that the email address doesn't get covered up by itself as it wraps around. It's such a minor thing, but it would wind me up, no doubt. So once you've got the wrap on, and they go on really easily, and they stick really well. We'll move on to putting the XS vanes on. These are similar to fit in any other sort of spin wings. This is the same sort of process. We're going to have the vanes, so we've got 3 of them there, double-sided tape, and wherever I put it, we got the anchor tape as well, which we're going to put on. So first thing we need to do is put this tape on. One thing that I like to do, just to make sure I can be extra accurate with putting them on, is I look at which way the vanes are going to sit. So that's going to be that way. And I have them lined up with the edge of the line. You could put the tape down the middle, or you could put it down the far side, but I make sure all of mine are done sort of to the one side of the line. That way you can just, you know, all your arrows are going to be that little bit more precise, a little bit more sort of similar to each other. How much difference it actually makes, I don't know, but I figure for the zero effort it takes to do something like this, it's worth it. So just going to line up that double-sided tape along the line on the wrap, trying to get it as precise as possible. Can be fiddly the first couple of times you do it. So I've got that on there. One good thing though is if it's not quite straight, you can just, because the glue's got a bit of give in it, you can just push it, give it a bit of a shove, and sort of slide it into place. The double-sided tape is obviously quite long, but we don't need to worry about this because we'll be removing that a little bit later. The extra length can help when you're sort of putting it on, and also when you're anchoring with the anchoring tape. So do that with the other two. Put that one on nice, bit of pressure. And then the last bit of tape going on. I tend to find a handy way of doing this is if you stick the two ends of the tape to your fingers and then use your thumbs to sort of position and press down. It gives you that bit more control to get them in the right place. So we've got the 3 bits of the double-sided tape on. They've still got the backing on at the moment. So we're going to move on to sticking the veins on. So first things first, we'll peel this backing off. And yeah, backing always sticks to my fingers. And then what we're going to do after that is we're just going to line up the end of the vein with the end of the line and place it down on that tape and have the whole side of the vein running alongside that line, trying to keep it as straight as possible. Although you can fit these with an offset if you want a bit of extra spin, but they are designed so that even when fitted straight, they will, you know, impart a spin to the arrow. Once you've got them in line and you've got them on, give them a nice press down, stick them to that tape, and there you go. So that's the first vein on, and then we'll just repeat that process. With the next two. So again, lining it up, sticking it down, trying to keep it as straight as possible. And there we go, that's number 2 on. A bit of pressure, make sure it sticks down nicely. There we go, and on to number 3. Backing sticking to my hand again. There we go. And last one going on. Stick the top end. Run it down in line. All the way down to the bottom end. And the more of these you put on, the quicker you get. And the advantage that I've found using the spin wings over the fletchings is the fact that you don't need a fletching jig. So you can keep the bag of all your bits in your bow case, and if it really comes to it, you can replace these whilst you're at the range. I tend to, if I've damaged any veins, I'll replace them whilst I'm sort of having a break between rounds or something. Fills up the time, and also saves me having to do them later. So the next thing that I'm doing is I'm just, with the glue, the double-sided tape that's run over down, I'm just rolling that back up towards the veins. And what we're going to do with this is pinch it and just rip it off. And that's going to get rid of that excess tape that was sticking down. Doesn't matter if there's a small amount still visible behind the vein, because once we put the anchor tape on, it's going to cover that up, so it can't be seen. I'm just going to do the same with the front of the veins. So roll that tape up, pinch it, and just bit more tricky because there's not as much. There we go. So yeah, just ripping off that sort of excess tape that we don't need. So there we go. So that is the vanes on, but they can still be quite vulnerable to, if they slide through a target or if they get hit by another arrow from the back, peeling off, because they are just held on by that tape. So they also give you this black anchor tape. It does come in quite long pieces. They recommend doing 2 wraps around, at least twice around the shaft. But I found with thinner arrows like the ACGs that I've got here, you can actually cut these strips into half and they still go round sort of two or three times. So I've just cut them down. Gives me a few more, because obviously if you end up replacing just one vane, you still have to replace both sets of tape. So you can sometimes end up getting through quite a bit of the tape. So hopefully that'll mean it lasts a bit longer, and all I'm going to do with these is taping over the bottom, so making sure that this tape is going over the bottom of the fletching and around the shaft, and it's just anchoring down that front end to stop it peeling away. And yeah, you can see this tape's still going around plenty of times, pulling it nice and tight, trying to keep it nice and tidy. See, as I've messed that up, but there we go. And then just going to do the same with the other end. Yeah, again at the back as well, making sure that there's a bit of the tape covering just the end of the fletching, and wrapping it around. Nice and tight, nice and tidy. All the way around. And there we go. So there we are. That is how quick and easy it is to fit a set of these arrow socks and a set of the spin wings, or the XS wings in this case. So I'm gonna crack on, get the rest of the arrows done, and go do some shooting.